Dr. Aziz Qureshi Sahab, Lieutenant General Zahiruddin Shah, Vice Chancellor, Aligarh University, Aligarh Muslim University, Professor Zakia Siddiqui, Dr. Sayyida Hamidji, Professor Bilkis Garisji, and Dr. Musa Razati, and Professor Shagir. I think I've got everybody. And last of all, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. But first, the girls. Thank you so much for जैसे शोरों से और फूलों से आपने मेरा स्वागत किया. Thank you very much. Secretary, thank you so much for such an inspirational speech. It was wonderful. It came straight from the heart and it was very, very relevant. And thank you so much. And I just hope, I mean, you said it all, but I really hope that it just doesn't remain on paper. I mean, all these funds, all this future thinking and optimistic thinking, but it has to translate into action. And that is why I think what we said last, that is up to the youth, up to the girls to take it forward, and only then the legacy of all these people who worked 100 years before will come true. That is really, really important. And I think, as we said, it is up to us, all of us, all generation, civil society, to push the buttons, to keep it forward, keep the pressure on. So these are not just election speeches, election whatever, but it really takes root because it's high time. It's high time things change. Because as you said, we are the 50% of the population and there is lots, and I think, and also, you know, when you speak last, everybody has said everything. The Governor Sahab has said everything, you know, every aspect has been dealt with. So I shall just say that I'm really very delighted to be here, really delighted. This is my first visit to Aligarh University, and it is very prestigious and historical Aligarh Muslim University. I know my husband's been here before, but I haven't. And thank you so much for inviting me here and giving me this opportunity to share in this very historical moment. We are here today to celebrate and acknowledge the contribution, enormous contribution of Sultan Jahan Begum towards education, and it's doubly delightful for me because, as you know, she's an ancestor from my husband's side, my husband's great-grandmother, Sarkarama, we used to call her, and so it's very delightful and a great honor to me personally. And Bhopal, as Governor Sahab said, that it's not just a beautiful place, but it is really in the heart of every Muslim woman in Bhopal. There is this magical island, as Anis Jan said somewhere, and it looks back on the vision of these four magnificent rulers who shaped the destiny of the state for more than 100 years. And you know, they ruled like men, they rode horses, they rode elephants, they wore no veils, and they were really a true inspiration and ruled the country, the state, extremely well. Of course, Bhopal, as many other states in Bhopal, has moved on, but their memory still lives on in the collective memory of all its people and impacts the daily life and remains a source of inspiration to all the Bhopalis, but particularly the women. Out of the four, I would say that Sultan Jahan Begum was the most popular and the most famous ruler. And as I think Musa Sahab or the Governor Sahab said, when she inherited the throne, there was no money. She was completely bankrupt. And she, of course, borrowed, but she also delved into her own finances to pay the salaries of the staff. And also, the administration had become very, very corrupt, very lazy, very inefficient. So she had to look for people from outside the state to come and man important position, because state के अंदर कोई था ही नहीं ऐसे कि वो would become so corrupt by then. So, but within a very short time, with the help of the British and some very valuable advisors, she put the Bhopal state back on its feet. And in time, she became a great reformist and a great administrator. And as a person, she was, as all of you know probably, she was a very religious and a pious person and shunned all forms of extravagance and led a very simple and a frugal life. Some people even called her very tight-fisted. And in 1917, when she went to the Darbar, the British were so impressed with her not because she was the only woman ruler, but because they sensed that she really cared for the people, the well-being for her people. And out of all the concerns, education was her topmost priority. Education in general and education for female in particular. As early as 1903, she's very vocal and outspoken in her advocacy for female education. And she says that it's high time that women of India needs to be educated. And particularly Muslim women because they're unlettered and very, very superstitious. This is what she says. And she also says, like now when we practice advocacy, when we talk about, we say you must teach the girl child. And this is what she said at that time, that women need to be educated more than men. Because they are the ones who have access to children, they are the ones who are passing on knowledge and moral values to the children. So you have to educate them. And also she had this focus on, again some of the earlier speakers have mentioned, on practicality. I mean, looking at the implication and implementation that we grew up to become a good mother, a good housewife, and also make a very happy home. Because at that time, working women's concept hadn't arrived. So she was still thinking in terms of being a good companion to a man. So that was her goal. And in her time, she established many, many girls' schools, not just limited to Bhopal, but outside of Bhopal. And through her contact, she reached as far as Kuch Bihar because she knew Sudhiti Devi, and she reached Kuch Bihar and Baroda on the other side. And also she had this parda transport, because naturally the parents used to be very scared, very reluctant to send their children to school. So she had this parda and to collect the children from school and from home to school and back, and have lady conductors in the bus. And she personally supervised everything herself because she was a very controlling person and everything had to be done just so. And she was invited, which was a great honor, just after the Darbar, to preside over the All India Conference for Women on mainly for educational reforms. And other speakers were people like Sarojini Naidu, Sarla Devi Chaudhurani, and she of course appreciated Sarojini Naidu's speech, but criticized Sarla Devi's speech, saying that educational forums are not to be used for political agenda. So she had her very strong views also and was very, very outspoken. And as you know that her son, Nawab Hamidullah, was a graduate from this university, and probably he was the first graduate among the prisoners, or probably one of the first, if not the first. And also she actually supervised Nawab Habibullah's 3 children's education. And what a grand education that was. Not only they learned, of course, the academics, the arithmetic, languages, etc. Like my mother-in-law was a wonderful seamstress. She rode horses, she played polo, she drove cars, and not only cars, she could mend the engine of the car. And she loved, she would always take out everything from the car and start tinkering. She was a great, she could repair furniture, she did chandeliers, rose garden, everything. That is what I feel is a very, very good education. And when Sheikh Abdullah came to her, she helped him wholeheartedly because he was a pioneer, as all of you know, female education. And she helped him and helped build this girls' school, which today has become the Women's College. of this university, and also built the hostel, which is Sultan Jahan Manzil, and has become the seat of, am I right, in Muslim educational conferences. So I think she had tremendous energy and really contributed in every field and with very generously. So I really congratulate FEL for holding this seminar and honoring memory of such an eminent person. And also I think this seminar will help all the young people who probably forgotten her by now to remind of her wonderful legacy and to reflect on when education was, very few people dared talk about education. There was such a mindset against education, which again is, even now we find that अगर लड़की स्कूल में जाएगी तो खराब हो जाएगी, they will not have any chances of marriage, कोई शादी नहीं करेंगे. So there are all these stupid mindsets, and I think she spoke up at that time, which is really wonderful. So thank you very much for organizing this seminar. She was really a champion for women's education and has made a place for herself in the annals of history. And lastly, again, I want to thank you for calling me here and giving me this honor and making me a part of everything. And I don't know what the ancestors are thinking, that I am representing the family here, but I am, and I'm taking great honor in doing that. Thank you very much.
इफ्तिताई इजलास को सजाने, संवारने और बनाने